Dear sisters, brothers, and beloved soulmates, I am Krishna Vadapalli, the owner of this channel, dedicated to promoting a moral and spiritual society worldwide. Our main objective is to share the epic story of the Mahabharata, which serves as a rich collection of spiritual and moral teachings. This includes the Bhagavad Gita, a profound source of enlightenment for all humanity. I kindly ask all viewers to subscribe, like, and share this channel to support our mission. The Mahabharata comprises a total of 589 stories, each contributing to our understanding of life and spirituality. Please subscribe and share and support me for more likewise. Thank you. Yours, Vadapalli Ramakrishna, ancient yoga trainer. In the shadowed forests of Shatashranga and the grand halls of Hastinapura, destinies were being shaped by love, sorrow, duty, and divine intervention. These are the origins of the mighty Pandavas and the Kauravas, born not just of flesh and blood, but of vows, blessings, and celestial powers. From the moment Kunti invoked the gods with a sacred mantra gifted by sage Vyasa, to the birth of Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, and the Ashwini twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, every chapter unveils a saga of miracles and fate. As joy filled the forest with each divine birth, turmoil brewed in the city. The arrival of Duryodhana, amidst ominous signs, sent ripples of dread through the wise and the elders. Yet Dhritarashtra's love clouded reason. Meanwhile, in the wilderness, King Panda's tragic desire led to his downfall, and in an act of immense love and sacrifice, Madri embraced death by his side, entrusting her children to Kunti's care. This is the untold story of how dharma, destiny, and devotion intertwined to lay the foundation for a war that would shake the very soul of Bharata. The sage's curse on King Pandu. While all this was going on, King Panda developed a desire to live in the forest in honor of his great-grandfather. Having spent years immersed in sacrifices and sacred rituals, he renounced worldly pleasures and set off to the forest with his 2 wives. There, he enjoyed the beauty of nature, wandered with his wives, relished the pleasures of forest life, and found happiness in the company of his consorts. One day, while out hunting, Panda aimed at a fierce animal but missed. The animal escaped, and despite his efforts, he failed to hunt anything that day. Irritated and disappointed, he roamed further into the forest. There, he came upon a couple engaged in intimacy. In a moment of thoughtless impulse, he shot an arrow at them. The couple fell to the ground, wounded and bleeding, but before his eyes, they transformed into a sage and his wife. Confused and shaken, Pandu approached them. The sage, now revealed to be Kimanda, addressed the king with sorrow and indignation, saying, "O king, I am the sage Kimanda, and this is my wife. We were indulging in mutual pleasures in the forms of deer. You, as a king, have the duty to hunt wild animals, and that is not to be blamed. But even the greatest hunters do not shoot at those who are weak, giving birth, sick, or engaged in the act of love. Such an act is a disgrace to a king who is the guardian of Dharma. Have you no shame in killing us in this state?" Pandu, attempting to justify himself, replied, "O sage, why do you blame me? For kings, hunting is not forbidden, whether it is done openly or through strategy. Even the great sage Agastya once offered wild animal meat to satisfy the ancestors. It was accepted and permitted that hunting wild animals was not a sin for kings. I have followed my duty and am not guilty." But the sage, enraged by Panda's defense, replied, "You speak of Dharma, but you are a fool. I was enjoying the natural desires that all living beings share. I was not violating Dharma. But since you struck me in this moment, I curse you. The moment you attempt to be intimate with your wife, you will die just as I have. Your fall will come as a result of your disregard for Dharma." With that, the sage and his wife died. King Pandu, devastated by what had happened, was filled with grief and guilt. What had begun as a journey of pleasure and escape ended in tragedy, and he withdrew from his desires, tormented by the realization that he had broken the sacred law. King Panda's Vanaprastha, desire for children. King Pandu, who could no longer enjoy marital bliss due to the curse, wished to accept the Vanaprastha ashrama and sent his physical strength back to Hastinapur. He also asked Kunti and Madri to return to the city, but they refused. They said, "The world is ours with you, why would we enjoy royal pleasures without you? Even in the forest, we would be happy with you." However, Panda explained the reality of his situation and the curse he had received. Shocked at first, the sisters soon recovered and firmly insisted that they would not leave their husband under any circumstance. Seeing their determination, Panda agreed to take them along and instructed them to inform the elders of his decision, sending only his physical attendants to the city. With Kunti and Marjorie, Panda journeyed north, abandoning the pursuits of Arthur and Karma, two of the 4 Purusharthas. They spent some time on the Nagashruta mountain, then moved to the Chaitrarata forest, continued to the Kalakita and Gandhamadana mountains, crossed the Indradayamna lake and the Hamsakuta region, and finally settled in the northern part of the Satashringa mountain. There, they built a hermitage, and King Pandu immersed himself in intense penance. Time passed, and one day, Panda greeted a group of sages traveling on the heavenly path and asked them, "Sirs, where are you going?" The sages replied, "O ascetic, today is the new moon day. The gods, ancestors, and great sages are all heading to Brahmaloka." Panda wished to go with them and began preparing to follow their path with his wives. However, some others who observed this warned him, saying, "O ascetic, the most humble and pure women cannot walk this divine path. Moreover, do not aspire to such higher worlds when you are childless." Hearing this, Panda was deeply distressed. He explained his unfortunate fate and earnestly requested their blessings. Moved by his plight, the sages used their divine vision to examine his destiny. They said, "Pandu, the curse upon you is true, and so is the virtue of your birth. Yet, something about your fate is extraordinary. From the divine strength radiating from your wives, we see that you are destined to have children who will be like gods, resplendent and powerful. Our words will not be in vain. Therefore, abandon your current pursuit and instead focus on the possibility of such divine children being born. That is your true destiny." With these blessings, the sages continued on their way. Panda King encourages Kunti to have children. Though the sage had cursed King Panda that he would die if he engaged in intercourse with a woman, the king remained troubled, unable to understand how he could ever become a father. He pondered deeply and eventually found the answer in his own birth. Summoning Kunti to a secluded place, he gently said, "Pritha, the son born to a true wife by her own husband is ideal. But when that is not possible, Mana has said that a son born to a wife by the union with a virtuous man is also considered a legitimate son by Dharma. You are aware of the ancient saying, Apatracia Gatia Nasti, there is no afterlife for the sonless. Therefore, to attain a higher world, one must have a son through a great and righteous man." At these words, Kunti was overwhelmed with emotion and burst into tears. She replied, "That is not the way. I cannot even imagine being with anyone other than you, my husband. To be with another man is a grave sin. I cannot commit such an act of passion. That is against the dharma of a housewife. It would destroy my chastity." After listening to her, King Panda gently began to explain again, saying, "My dear, you must understand that even disobeying your husband's word is not considered chastity. True chastity is not simply physical, it lies in intention and duty. Moreover, this practice of a woman bearing children through a noble man when her husband cannot is not new, it has existed in the past. Even today, in the northern lands of Kurubumi, women live in such open relationships. I am not asking you to go against Dharma or propriety, but if you reflect upon this deeply, you will see the reasoning. It is not a sin, but a path aligned with time, tradition, and righteous duty.